Hello, everyone, and welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the June 2023 astrology forecast. I took a beat there at the very beginning because sometimes it just takes a minute. But yes, welcome. My name is Hannah. I am a Western Practical Astrologer. So if you are new here, welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, a returning subscriber of the channel, welcome back. Great to have you here. I am excited to share the astrology for June 2023. I think especially because so many of us are looking for a little bit of hope. This is what I'm feeling already. It's like we're looking for hope. We're looking for something to change, something that is much more uplifting, like a change in direction. And I think a big theme for June 2023 is that it's going to represent a turning point for so many of us. Hello, Sorsha. Welcome. Um, Mugambo. Good evening to you. Well, it's it's the evening here actually too. Yeah, it's 5 p.m. here. Still evening. Yes, welcome. And yeah, you were first, Sorsha. Good job. But yes, so there's quite a bit to get through today, and I hope that you are doing well. How are you doing? Are you having a nice weekend? I know that it's a Saturday and I'm recording this. Hello, Evolving Love. Nice to see you, to have you here. Hello, Miss Alchemist. What does what does IRK mean? I know, I don't know what that means. IRK. I'm not sure what that stands for. And hello, Alexander. Yes, I am good. I'm actually doing quite well today. How are you? What does Leo and Venus mean? There's actually the Venus in Leo retrograde video that I made last week. It was pretty recently. So I would suggest watching that video to become informed about the Venus retrograde coming up. But yeah, so we're going to get into June today. We're going to be talking about Venus in Leo actually, because Venus is going to be entering Leo on the 5th of June. You've got a Leo rising, Sorsha. Okay, interesting. All right, so I'm just going to show you this presentation. June, of course, the summer solstice takes place in June, right? At the beginning of Cancer season. So happy summer solstice, which is approaching. So here is the overview of June. We're opening up the month with Jupiter conjunct the North Node. There will be this full moon in Sagittarius taking place between the 3rd and 4th, so it depends on where you are in the world. Then Venus will enter Leo on the 5th of June. Okay, so we're going to be talking about this over at the Cosmic Warriors Club. We're actually going to be talking about it on the 30th, so this Tuesday at 6 p.m. So if you're interested, just go to cosmicwarriorsclub.com and you'll be able to jump in on that session. And we'll go into aspects actually, and we'll go into it more month to month, because the thing is that Venus is going to be in Leo for a good few months. So there's a lot coming up here to do with Venus and Leo, especially because we have the retrograde taking place between the 22nd of July and the 3rd of September. Then on the 11th of June, we also have Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, and Mercury will enter Gemini. So big shifts here actually coming up throughout June. So for one, we've got Pluto retrograde entering Capricorn. Of course, it's still retrograde in Aquarius. We're sort of coming to the end of that. And Pluto will be retrograde in Capricorn for the next 4 months or so. I think it's up until October, November, around that time. Just so many little pieces of information to remember. But there's actually going to be a talk all about that too, the week. So I think it's going to be the 13th. Let me just double check my calendar. Double check the calendar. Yeah, the 13th of June, there will be a talk all about Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, as well as Saturn retrograde in Pisces. There will be a talk about these shifts on the 13th of June over at the Cosmic Warriors Club. And then with Mercury entering Gemini, this one is quite significant too, because, right, we've had Mercury in Taurus for the last 8 weeks or so. Will be about 10 weeks by the time Mercury enters Gemini. So big changes in this way because Taurus and Gemini are so different in how they go about doing things. But we'll get more into that throughout the presentation. And then, like I said, Saturn will retrograde in Pisces. Now, with this one, just to keep it brief, what's really significant about this is Saturn will reach 7 degrees in the sign of Pisces, and then it will retrograde back to 0 degrees. So you have to kind of think back to about the 7th of March when Saturn first entered Pisces, because it's almost like we're going to be retracing our steps, this type of thing. But again, we'll talk more about that. And more detail, of course, over at the Cosmic Warriors Club. I just want to say that. And then on the 18th of June, there will be the new moon in Gemini. And on the 21st of June, Cancer season will begin. The summer solstice begins. Amazing. I just have to say, I am really enjoying the sun right now. It's been quite sunny, quite nice in Northern Ireland. Okay, that's where I live. Northern Ireland has been quite decent the past week. And trust me, we get a lot of rainy weather. But yeah, so summer solstice is quite nice. And then on the 26th of June, Mercury will enter Cancer, and then closing the month, on the 30th of June, Neptune will station retrograde in Pisces, and there will be a Mercury Kasimi. Okay, so Mercury and the Sun will be in Cancer. They're conjunct on the 30th of June. Yeah, same here, Saoirse. So I'm assuming, yeah, you're from down south. Interesting. Okay, so I just want to say, before we do get into this, I've made some adjustments to the Cosmic Warriors Club. There are 2 specific plans. The first plan is Cosmic Sessions. It is £5 per month. You will receive access to live transit sessions, seasonal sessions as well. And then throughout those particular transit seasonal sessions, there will be things like aspects involved as well. So aspects throughout certain transits. Of course, as well, there will be your horoscopes and Q&As. So there's quite a bit in the cosmic sessions. So if you want extra information about these transits, like I was saying there, Venus retrograde, there will be a talk about it here on the 30th, and then there will be the Pluto retrograde, Saturn retrograde talk on the 13th of June. There's so many videos up there already, which you will receive access to. So that's only £5 a month. And then there's the cosmic package, which is everything in the cosmic sessions, plus your monthly horoscopes, weekly horoscopes, full moon, new moon reports. The full moon report for Sagittarius is up. Like I said, there will be the full moon happening on the 3rd/4th of June. And then there's also your June horoscopes available too there. So if you want more information, more detail, you can sign up for the cosmic package. Plus, there is educational information. There's some people who ask me questions, about astrology. I've answered certain questions there. Cosmic check-ins every week, discounts on products and services, and that is £14 a month. So yeah, those are the 2 plans. Go to cosmicwarriorsclub.com if you want more information. Okay, so let's get into this. And thank you so much, Saoirse. Thank you for saying that. I hope you enjoy this video today as well. Okay, so like I said, Jupiter will conjunct the North Node opening this month. So it will be about between the 1st to the 2nd of June. So essentially, we are going to be opening the month with this inspirational message. Okay. And I think that this is something that we really need. Even closing the month of May, we will be feeling this. Okay. And the reason why I'm saying that it's something that we really need is because we've been experiencing this grand fixed cross, okay, between the fixed signs. That the nodes have been in Taurus and Scorpio, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, and then Mars being in Leo. So from the 20th of May, it's felt extra potent, what I'm about to say. So this whole thing of feeling like, when's it going to end? When's it going to end? Why is there no movement? We're going to get more into this because the next slide talks about the fixed cross. But the fixed grand cross, sorry. But yeah, I think that the North Node and Jupiter will be highlighting then, okay, I'm feeling somewhat more inspired about my life path, about my destiny, right? If that is that you believe in destiny or fate. And of course, with Jupiter energy, it can look at things like expansion, blessings, fortune, hope, luck, faith, even just having faith in our journey, having faith in our path, and even just holding on to faith or holding on to hope. And then even, feeling somewhat grounded as well, remembering actually to ground ourselves, I would say, during this time, to really center ourselves. Of course, this is Taurus energy we're talking about too. And I also see this as us experiencing increased endurance, right? So if you kind of think about Taurus, Taurus is such an endurable, is that the correct word? But yeah, such an endurable sign. Okay, Taurus is the type of energy that can kind of keep moving along and be persistent and follow through and can come up. It's different to Capricorn, but I guess there's some sort of similarities in that Taurus can sort of come up against certain obstacles or limitations, but have this sort of solid energy to it, this sort of firm-footed, I'm going to keep going, or I'm going to accept that, this is the time period that I have to wait right now. I think there's more of this knowing with Taurus in that we just got to wait it out. Just got to wait it out for now. And eventually things will start to turn, things will start to move. That's if we choose to move with it, if we choose to move with the changing times as well. Keep in mind that we'll still be in Gemini season throughout plenty of June. So Gemini, of course, with the sun being in Gemini, it looks at that changeability, being flexible, coming up with sort of creative ways of doing things, creative ideas. But then with that square to Mars, okay, so Mars being in Leo, this could look like us defending our values, okay, defending what we own, defending what is really worthy to us, defending our possessions. I think that there is this sort of no, 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 no. This is where I'm at right now, and this is what I'm going to continue to push for in my life because this means something to me. But it's that we're sort of experiencing this push and pull, this resistance, and perhaps there have been plenty of inner frustrations that many of us have been feeling recently. I know for me, I've been feeling really frustrated internally. However, I've also somehow been able to check in with myself and to sort of go, okay, but I can't do anything about this outside situation. But what I can do is I can more focus on myself and on the little things that I can do, maybe day to day, or I can maybe even show gratitude and appreciation to what I already have. Or I can practice more of this inner calm, right? So being able to calm those inner frustrations. I've been feeling it over the past week. And usually when I feel like that, I would become very anxious and I would get up in my head. Of course, I have a lot of Virgo energy. So I would really go up into my head and I would become really worried and stressed out about things. But somehow over the past week or even the past couple of weeks, I've been able to get to this point of, okay, just breathe, just breathe. There's nothing you can do to control that situation. Just accept it for what it is. And just, focus on what you can do in the present. Now, there's also this thing of fighting for the things that we're building and we're nourishing for the future. This is about substance. This is about quality, recognizing, okay, that this is a time period that these sort of this resistance that we're experiencing, these blockages that we're experiencing, it's looking at it as, right, this is just a moment in time. It's not going to last forever, but it's still important to work on our craft or to study more or to learn more or to do the things that we enjoy, the things that inspire us, the things that we love. Okay. If we even think about Mars being in Leo, right? Creativity, love, enjoyment, all that. But yeah, it's sort of focusing more on those things, and then also considering value, substance, and yeah, just looking at it as this is just a moment in time, but that the thing that I'm really working on is so worth it. It's so important that I stay with it, because perhaps in the future that thing could really grow, and it will showcase then just the amount of energy that we put into it, and then that produces this real solidness and this quality. And then it's also looking at that slow and steady build when it comes to Taurus, slow and steady results. So yeah, trying not to necessarily, rush or push in a way where we're just hurrying along. I'll even just draw again from my own experience with this. I always like to draw from my own experiences because it helps me ground the energy a lot more. So basically, I am currently uploading my ebooks. So I have 12 astrology ebooks, one for each sign, for each season, for each archetype. And I'm trying to upload them onto Etsy. So to open up an Etsy shop. And in the past, I would have this mentality of I need to do them all now, right? I have that Aries energy. I'm like, I need to do all of these right now. And so I would push and push and push and push. And I would get to a point where, oh, I'm really hungry. Actually, do you know what? I'll prolong that. I'll prolong the hunger. I'll prolong it. And then I get to a point where I'm actually really like starving. It feels like I'm so hungry then. And I'm not only hungry now, I'm also moody. I'm agitated. I'm irritable, snapping at people if they talk to me, probably hangry, right? But that isn't healthy, right? That kind of way of doing that is not healthy. So what I've been kind of trying to learn is just go slow at this. You don't have to do all ebooks in a day, in 2 days. Take your time. This is a huge message with Taurus. It really is. And I think the Taurus season has kind of, in a way, helped us prepare for this moment that's about to come up, right? So with Jupiter conjunct the North Node, right, we're coming to this point where it can look at, yes, great fortune, many blessings, feeling like, yes, I'm free, or I feel like there's more abundance around me. I can appreciate things so much more now because I can see the tangible results, this type of thing. But before we get to that sort of point, we're being prepared somehow. We have been prepared throughout Taurus season. Okay, so another thing then is making sense of our material motivations and drives. And I think that is quite important. It's having that kind of that inner knowing, that inner reflection. And we can even see this with Pluto retrograde opposing Mars and square that Jupiter energy. It's really turning toward ourselves, looking within, and really asking, what are my intentions here? What are my motivations? What is it that drives me when it comes to the material world? What is it that drives me when it comes to what I create, what I produce? Am I being authentic, or am I just trying to go along with the crowd? Or am I trying to impress other people? Their authenticity. And I say this with love, and I say it hopefully in a caring, light way, but it's being able to look at those parts of ourselves that we don't want to see. If it is that there's a certain intention that isn't genuine, or we realize that, oh, maybe I was trying to impress other people. It's having this sense of humility. I would say humility, and this self-acceptance, this honesty with ourselves of, yeah, you know what, yeah, that was that was my intention. But you know what? I can change that. Or do you know what? Maybe I can learn from that. I can learn what not to do. Or maybe that thing works for you. Who knows? But I'm just I'm just trying to spitball these ideas that are coming to me to do with this energy. But yeah, that kind of that inner search, there's this inner knowing, I would say, with this Grand Cross and having to address the more shadow sides of ourselves. And those shadow sides can, of course, be beneficial too, right? The shadow doesn't just have to be like this really dark, looming thing. It can also look at parts of ourselves that maybe we can integrate in a beneficial way. And we even see this, of course, with the South Node being in Scorpio too. Now, with that being said, what does the future hold when it comes to our security, right? Maybe this is a sort of question that so many of us have. And hello, just this idea is just coming to me. But hello, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, not just the retrograde, but Pluto in Aquarius. Because, of course, Pluto is going to re enter Aquarius in 2024, January 2024, and then it will be there from about, I think it's November 2024, for about 20 years. And so I think with this first round of Pluto in Aquarius, I think a lot of us have kind of questioned our future, questioned, well, where's astrology heading? Well, what's my place here on social media? What's going to happen when it comes to social media? How attached am I to this particular job on social media? What's my image? What am I known for? How do I make my money? And how is that going to change? Really, how is that going to change in the next, well, look here, 12 years. I put 12 years because Jupiter will be in Taurus again, and then it will also make a square to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, and then it will oppose Saturn in Leo. Oh, this to me, this is like a whole clearing out period, right? Especially with Scorpio involved in this round. There's a clearing out happening. There's this, what is it? The cutting ties, cutting cords, all that stuff. Perhaps even on a more energetic level, right? On an intuitive level, a spiritual level, an emotional level. But there's this clearing out, this getting rid of really just what just does not cut it, and arriving to these very serious conclusions and decisions about what is my future, what am I going to do now, what can I change now. And upon reflection even more with this, right, I often, when it comes to the future, I still try to be somewhat philosophical about it, in that, the whole Alan Watts thing of life is a dance, right? It's a dance, and it's not about getting from A to B. It's not about starting a dance and then getting to the very end of the dance. It's about the dance, right? So when I talk about this future stuff, there is still this part of me that has to kind of bring it back in and kind of go, right, but no, we're still in the present moment. But you see, Aquarius is such a futuristic sign. And Pluto being in Aquarius has been it's been shaking us up, and it's been making us sort of realize that things are really, really going to change at such a speed here. So yeah, with Pluto and Aquarius, things are going to change at such a speed, because if you think about it, Aquarius is to do with technology. And let's think about technology, and let's think about how changeable it is. And yeah, it just seems like we are being presented with these new potentialities about the future. And so we can maybe help navigate this, or we can help kind of see what we can do now in a way. But yeah, I hope that didn't sound too like, what's the word? Too conflicting, like I wasn't able to pick one, about the future and the present. Of course, it's all important, I guess. But yeah, I still think with Pluto in Aquarius, we are being really made to address our contributions to society and how so much is going to change. If we think about how there's been, what was it? There was a study done about how so many babies born today that their job does not even exist yet. So that's what I'm trying to get at. That's what I'm trying to get at. But then again, with Aquarius, you never know. I'm not saying that as a cop out, You never know with Aquarius. It's always, expect the unexpected. Could go back to being more, mundane roles or roles that aren't so technological. Anyway, so let's move on. Just kind of going into my brain. I am an Aquarius, so I have so many different like trains of thoughts going. Okay, so like I said, there is this grand fixed cross. And so we will still be feeling this until the 11th of June. Venus will join in on this grand fixed cross from the 5th of June. So this suggests power struggles about our individuality, about self-love. Okay, we're going to be noticing these things pretty profoundly, especially because Black Moon Lilith will be in Leo and the Venus retrograde will take place in Leo, and that will actually end up making a conjunction to Black Moon Lilith. Though I can't quite remember if the retrograde actually hits Black Moon Lilith, but I'm pretty sure there is a conjunction that takes place. So yeah, really looking at our shadow, really looking within our spirit, our psyche, however you want to put it. But with this particular Grand Cross, it's sort of this thing of why won't things budge? Why won't they move? Why are things stagnant? Why are things not moving the way I want them to move? And that's kind of going back to what I've been talking about so far. I'm feeling this resistance, feeling like no matter what we do, no matter what we put out, no matter what we create, just things aren't moving in the same way that they used to. And we can even see this on a practical level with the recession, the raise of prices. I mean, things are so expensive now, crazy expensive. So I think a lot of us are really changing. We're changing our outlook toward spending, toward what we value as well. And if I think about this even more, another idea that came to me with this is if we think and consider just the amount of influencers, the amount of astrologers, the amount of vegans, the amount of, I don't know, other groups, but you get what I mean. The amount of certain groups, and things are becoming like really populated in a way. And it may be hard to sort of find your place at times. And at the same time, I do still agree that everyone has their own niche and their own way of sharing a message, right? There is that part of it. But I also think that there can be this there can be this thing of just feeling like people are expanding to such a degree that it's hard to use your voice, or it's hard to feel seen or heard. So yeah, maybe this is some of what we're experiencing. And to be fair, you even see this quite a bit with social media, the whole echo chamber thing, where certain ideas are thrown out and then there's just a thread of comments of people agree, and then comments that disagree. It's like block, 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 block. But their voice isn't being heard then. Yeah. So yeah, I feel as though there's a bit of this that's been amplified and intensified recently. Still, if we think here about this, so bring it back to this fixed cross, I think there is something here about patience, okay, grounding ourselves again, waiting. It could be that this is just about accepting the ebbs and flows of life, and hopefully things do start to turn around and change. And I think that there will be this sort of this turning point. I've said at the bottom, a turning point for society coming. So yeah, a new way of doing things. And I guess even with Pluto being in Aquarius, we are having to be innovative. We're having to sort of readjust, keep up with the changing times. Going back to the first slide of, considering the future and, what is it that we have to do in order to keep up with this ever changing world? It's just happening so fast. Yeah. So this is why I'm saying as well, just holding, grinding, breathe out, breathe out. And then I also think too, looking at being our own source of motivation and courage. And where have you overdone it as well? Are there any useful cutbacks that you can make during this time? So, during this time when it feels like so many of us are waiting, so many of us are waiting for things to happen, it's turning toward ourselves and thinking about, okay, well, what do I really enjoy doing? Or what can I, going back to, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over, but in different ways. But yeah, basically, yeah, looking more toward what we can do individually, right? And then asking ourselves too, where have we overdone it? Where have we extended ourselves? Can we make any sort of useful, beneficial cutbacks? Just small cutbacks that can make all the difference. But again, we could look here at innovation, having this powerful drive, this powerful will, and what can we control right now? Allow for fate, destiny to take care of things. If it is that you are someone who really does believe in fate and destiny, just allow things to play out as they may. Let go, accept, breathe out. Whew. And then we have 2 more weeks of Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So maybe try to think back to the last week of March and think about, what really did come up for you and what are you revisiting? What sort of power struggles are you revisiting when it comes to groups, teams, alliances, when it comes to inventions, innovation? I know for me something big is coming up for me, and it's starting the Cosmic Warriors Club. There are changes that I'm making, and I'm having to really readjust things. But yeah, there's this retracing our steps right now. Well, especially here with 2 more weeks of Pluto being retrograde in Aquarius in June. So, yeah, looking at that Pluto energy in Aquarius again. All right. So, the full moon in Sagittarius will happen on the 6th or the 3rd/4th of June, depending on where you are. Now, the thing about this is it will equivalent to the number 4 in numerology. In fact, we will experience this number 4 moon, and then we will also experience a number 8 moon with the new moon being in Gemini. We'll talk about that in a moment, but 4 and 8 are such builders, especially the number 4, looking at this building energy, being ambitious, being determined as well, and overcoming obstacles, overcoming certain limitations. So, yeah, there is more of this grounding energy, this supportive energy coming in with the full moon and the new moon throughout June. That rhymed. still, still, the full moon in Sagittarius is going to be a moon of hope, faith, optimism. Okay, this is going to be a moon of great hope. And this is what I'm saying, I think a lot of us are seeking real hope right now. Just something, can something please change? Can something just go my way? Can something turn out differently, please? Can I be opened up to a new experience? Maybe there is a completely new path that we're just often blinded to. Even with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, and maybe that's showing us this blind spot within our communities and within our teams that we haven't recognized yet. And maybe things will become illuminated, things will become clearer about our direction, about our future aspirations. Thinking about freedom as well. However, this is also going to be a full moon of releasing dogma, intellectual superiority, exaggeration, releasing where you overdo it, and hopefully learning so much valuable wisdom and knowledge from these insights. And then also shining a light on our deeply held beliefs. And yeah, the thing about our beliefs is that they're often formed because of how much we tell ourselves something. There's this sort of repetitive quality to our beliefs. And when things are so deeply ingrained, often it's tied to our upbringing. I know for me, I have Sagittarius in the 4th house. I have a Sagittarius IC. So the full moon will be happening in my 4th house. But I know that I grew up being, brought up to be Christian, to follow Christianity. And it's just not what I believe in anymore. And there's been actually quite a lot that I have been working through to do with sort of untangling myself from those beliefs. That's the thing. It can be really challenging to untangle ourselves from our beliefs because they're so in there. And they're also, in a way, part of our subconscious. We may act out in these subconscious ways because of what we believe. So I think that's interesting, when I think about this more, because there's such an identity crisis that comes with that for many people, because they've been raised within a particular religion, for example. And maybe they later on in their lives, they realize that, oh, this isn't for me, or I believe in something different now. But the old belief still plays on their mind, or there's this difficulty in separating themselves from that belief. And that goes back to the whole experiencing this identity crisis. It's interesting to really think about that. Also, taking a leap of faith, broadening our horizons, questioning our truth. These themes are very much Sagittarius, so we will be shining a light on these very areas. And this is why I think the full moon in Sagittarius is coming at kind of like a perfect time. My dad always used to say to me, there's no such thing as accidents, Hannah. There's no such thing as accidents. He had his moon in Sagittarius, by the way, and his Venus there. Oh gosh. Yeah. So things are aligning in a kind of perfect way, because I think this is the moon that we're really longing for. This is the type of moon that we need. It's a moon that will help uplift us in a way, and help provide some type of optimism and positivity. And I also think that it'll be a good opportunity for us to spread our wings and to broaden our horizons, especially coming out of this fixed cross energy. Of course, we're still going to still be experiencing the fixed cross during the full moon. But I still think that the full moon in Sagittarius is going to kind of help raise us up a little bit. Yeah. Though when I mention positivity, right? I'm just gonna go off on a little tangent here. But what came to my mind is how much throughout my life I have thought so negatively about the world and so negatively about myself. It's interesting because I have Jupiter, right? Jupiter, the planet of optimism and positivity. It's on my ascendant, and I have a Virgo ascendant. However, Virgo, probably not the most the, the most glass is half full sign. It's more of a sign that critiques. And I'm not saying that I don't enjoy these qualities about myself. I do. It's just that I realize just how much I have thought in a more negative way. And what I mean by this is, for example, the first belief of mine being that things are not going to turn out the way that I want them to, or that interview that I just did is going to fall through, or I'm not going to get that particular whatever it is, just whatever it is, or even that relationship isn't going to turn out in a really beneficial way. There's just this pessimism, right? And I have so much Capricorn. I do have so much Capricorn in my chart too. But the point is, right, the point that I'm trying to get to with this is, right, this is what I've learned recently. As much as I have tried to resist looking at the glass as half full and being positive, how about I switch it to allowing more positivity in my life? Because why not? Why not believe in, for example, right? Why not believe that the universe is working for me and not against me? Why not? Why not believe that, Abraham Hicks and manifestation? Why not believe that's real and that can be really empowering and enlightening? See, I would be quick just to critique, just to use discrimination or discernment toward it. And again, I'm not saying that I'm not going to do this. It's just that I can lean too far toward no, that's not for me. No. And then I don't actually lean into it and just give it a try. It's like, come on, just try it a little. Just try it a little. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say here. It's this whole thing of, well, why not see life in a different way? Try it out. You never know how that could change you or open you up to something completely new. And I guess you could say that astrology has been like that for me. You know, astrology's been like that for me. So consider these things basically when it comes to this full moon in Sagittarius and how things could very well change for you due to a release, due to something completely new, a new opportunity, questioning your truth. But then with the full moon in Sagittarius, it also looks at reaping rewards to do with knowledge, travel, philosophy, freedom. Freedom. Sagittarius is like, no, I do not want to be tied down. You're not going to tell me what to do. You're not going to tell me what to do. I'm even thinking about my niece, and she's a Sagittarius sun and moon. Oh, I love my niece. She is a free spirit. Okay, so with the full moon in Sagittarius as well, consider what is holding you back from being expansive, from growing. Oh. I love reading these because when I really reflect at the same time, I'm like, yes, this is so true. This is what I need to hear right now. And of course, we will be approaching this full moon in Sagittarius very, very soon. There will also be a talk about it, by the way. I'm hoping actually to get the talk up tomorrow, so I'll hope to be live tomorrow night too. And then another thing with the full moon, resetting our future aspirations, illuminating gratitude and appreciation. What are you really grateful for? What are you appreciative of? And I have to say this. Right? But with Abraham Hicks, right? I remember being introduced to Abraham Hicks back in 2016. 2016. Yeah. So that was quite a long time ago, right? And I just didn't really watch any lectures for a good few years. And I've been watching the lectures again, and I love how Abraham talks about being in the vortex, okay? Being in the vortex. And my interpretation of that is just recognizing this sort of blissful feeling, this gratitude, appreciative feeling within yourself, you know. And she was talking about, so there was this woman who wanted to know information about well, I want this house, and how to go about getting it and what I need to do, etc. And Abraham, well, this is how I perceived what she was saying, but Abraham was suggesting that it's about, well, focus on what you already have rather than having this persistent, this determination, like, I want this, I want this, I want this, and it's more about, okay, how about you let go of that a little bit, the resistance, and you just more so address and consider what you already have and experience joy and happiness in that. And I get that this is so nuanced. I get that there's so many layers to this. And that's also not to say that I'm never going to have goals and I never want anything in my life. That's what I'm saying. It's so nuanced. But that what I learned from that and what I've learned from Abraham is just to be able to check in with myself and go, do you know what? I can actually experience happiness right now. If I maybe remove myself from the situation that's making me unhappy. How about I go over here and not give in to this? That type of thing. Now, the last thing, like I said, this is a full moon that is much needed after the past few months. So this is not even thinking about the Grand Cross, but this is also looking at the past few months. We had that lunar eclipse in Scorpio. I do not want to go back there, okay? We had that. And we have Mercury retrograde, of course, in Taurus. Eye-opening for me. And then we had eclipse season in general, with the solar eclipse as well, and in Aries. And then Aries season was quite something. But yeah, hopefully this full moon is what is needed. It helps us in a way. It helps uplift us after the past few months. Yes, the creator. It was something else. And then I also just want to say, Katie, thank you so much. I think you said literally hearing every word before you say it. Um, I don't actually, do you know what? Is that directed at me about how I'm speaking, or was it something about what I said? I'm not actually sure right now. But I feel like I need to say thank you. Okay, so Venus will enter Leo on the 5th of June until the 8th of October. So a good few months of Venus being in Leo. We're going to go over all of this over at the Cosmic Warriors Club. We're going to split it up into month by month aspects are going to be looked at. Yes, horoscopes, all that good stuff. Q&As, cosmicwarriorsclub.com. So this will be a part of this grand cross until the 11th of June. So there will be the opposition to Pluto retrograde at the beginning. Okay, we're going to be confronted with our shadow, especially with Black Moon Lilith also being in Leo, confronted with our shadow, both the good and the bad. What is it that's repressed? What is it that we're not seeing? Maybe it's a good idea to gain some sort of perspective or insights from other people in your life. I even think with, when it comes to Pluto energy, it can be really beneficial and therapeutic to ask people, what do you see? Even when it comes to the whole, shadow work, seventh house stuff, eighth house stuff, 12th house, fourth house, all that good stuff. It can be really beneficial to ask other people, what do you see in me? Like, what do you see? I'll just give you a quick example that just came to my brain there now, right? So I was at an event last night. It was one of my best friends' pre-party events. It was a pre-party, pre-wedding party. Sorry. Yes. And so basically, it was good fun, by the way. It was so much fun. Had the best time. And there was someone there, lovely, lovely girl who was there. She's very, very close to the bride. And she said to me, she said, "Oh, Hannah, you just you just remind me or of someone who's just really, really spiritual. This type of stuff, right?" And I heard it and I thought, "Oh, thanks." And then I sat down and I thought, "Okay, right, I've got Virgo. Okay, I've got Virgo on my ascendant. Um, yeah, Jupiter's there. Maybe that can kind of indicate, people seeing you as more spiritual. But then I lean more into my seventh house of Pisces. And I kind of thought, have I been leaning more into my seventh house? Have I been more like integrating these Pisces parts of myself over the past few months, And I guess in a way I have because I'm trying to, become more up to speed with flow and allowing for things to unfold as they should. This whole thing, a path of least resistance. But maybe I'm reading too much into that, right? And maybe I'm reading too much into what was said. But all I'm saying is that yes, there was a part of me that was like, "Oh, thanks." But then I did kind of think about, right, okay, spiritual, okay, Pisces, what's going on? Oh, Saturn's there at the minute in the seventh house, and Neptune's there. What's been happening? But yeah, basically, there can be this benefit from other people, right? And that they can act as mirrors, right? We're all mirrors, I guess, toward one another. We're always mirroring and projecting. But Pluto being opposite Venus, it's really going to look at that dynamic. It's really going to highlight, okay, right, what is being reflected? What is being mirrored? What is being projected? And then really going within and looking deeper into the shadow or trying to understand the shadow more. Um, Also, it's a time to gain a deeper perspective about our pleasures, desires, love life, our hobbies, creativity, following our hearts, really following our heart's desires. And that's not just thinking about relationships, or of course it can, look at this and looking at, how we can maybe experience greater intimacy and closeness within our relationships, but it's also looking at what it is that we really love, what we desire as individuals, what moves us, what do we gravitate toward. And then with the square, so there will be a square between Venus and the nodes and Jupiter as well. Creator, you said that Sun in Aquarius always showing that spirituality. Hey, I never thought of that actually. Never thought of that. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so like I said, during the second week of June, there will be a square between Venus and the nodes and Jupiter. So perhaps it's that we will be able to look at the bigger picture a lot more in terms of our interests and our values and our desires and our pleasures, really looking at the bigger picture more. And learning a lot, moving forward, gaining new perspectives, but also, yeah, more so looking at, okay, the more optimistic, hopeful, uplifting themes. But then again, with there being squares, perhaps some insecurities will come up, or it's about addressing certain insecurities that we have and then being able to maybe look at them in a whole new way. Some of this could even involve looking toward the past. Of course, the South Node will still be in Scorpio. So, yes, some perhaps not so pleasant things to address. But by addressing them, perhaps we can move forward with greater clarity and understanding, and even just with this greater solid sense of who we are. And then 4 months, this will basically be, so 4 months valuing things like play, enjoyment. Venus is going to be in Leo for like 4 months. So yeah, it's a good time to consider, what do you enjoy? Playfulness. I had the best time last night. I just want to say that it was so fun. I want more fun in my life. I just look, I'm gonna share a more personal experience. I hope that's okay that I share personal experiences here. I just get so excited and passionate, and I feel like using myself as an example is not only going to make it more practical, but I'm gonna be able to explain things because I would know my own chart more, if you know what I mean. But so I have Leo in the 12th, and for so much of my life, I have denied play. I have hidden behind this sort of, if you think about the first house of it being a mask. Of course, it's more than a mask, but I've hid behind this mask of, okay, right, I need to keep myself controlled, and I need to be reserved, and I need to be helpful, and I need to be useful, and I need to more so come at things from this more analytical way where I'm reading everyone and people watching, and I enjoy I enjoy those types of things. I can be really observant in that way, but a lot of me has kept myself back. And what I mean by this is keeping myself back from just enjoying the moment, from just having fun, from just engaging in conversations, social conversations, and just, yeah, being playful, experiencing life instead of constantly trying to read life. Yeah, I think that Venus in Leo is going to really highlight these deeply subconscious parts of me and to hopefully integrate them in more healthy, balanced, centered ways. But of course, if we go back to everyone, this is really looking at us valuing these types of areas, valuing even confidence and self assurance. Even at the bottom there, it says with Venus retrograde from the 22nd of July to the 3rd of September, we will be gaining a deeper understanding about confidence, self assurance, and dignity too. And then another thing with Venus retrograde is we will be perhaps revisiting a past heart situation. And again, that's not just about relationships, of course, it could be, but this is also, looking at where we have denied our heart, where we have denied something that we thought, here, yeah, my heart is like yearning for this, that this makes me feel really good. And I would love to do that. Like a passion, an interest, a hobby, thinking about creativity as well, a creativity situation. And even if we think about relationships too, so with Venus retrograde and relationships, yes, maybe it could look at lovers from the past, etc. But this could also be where we look at a sort of friendship, a friendship, or we revisit a heart matter with regard to a friendship. And with that being said, consider what came up for you when it comes to these things, or when it came to these things back in 2015, because this was when Venus was last retrograde in Leo. So really think about, what came up for you with respect to play, fun, creativity, love, following your heart, confidence, self-assurance, dignity, all that stuff to do with Leo. Kitty, your Venus is in Leo, so happy for this time. Oh, wow. You're going to go through your Venus return. Amazing. Happy Venus return to you. Okay, so Pluto retrograde will happen between the 11th of June and the 10th of October. And this is an interesting one because this time period sort of aligns almost with Venus in Leo. And Capricorn and Leo make this in conjunction. So Pluto retrograde at the beginning of Venus retrograde will actually make an in conjunction to Pluto retrograde will make an in conjunction to Venus retrograde at the beginning of Venus retrograde. Sorry, I got distracted because of a speck of dust on my screen there. So yeah, basically when it comes to this, I think this is about getting to the root of a relationship matter, especially looking at this beginning of this retrograde, really getting to the root of it. Maybe even addressing something that was very controlled and very restricted and quite controlling and dominant within our lives. Even thinking about how we can gain a deeper understanding with regard to our ambitions, success, integrity, and how these things are linked to our individuality. How attached are we to these things too? Oof. How attached are we to a certain reputation that we have? Perhaps many of us will be going through what feels like a complete restructuring of our reputation whilst Venus starts to retrograde in Leo. But then if we look at the collective themes with Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, well, this will be from 29 to 27 degrees. And so with that, think about December 2022 to March 2023, because this was when Pluto was last in Capricorn at 29 to 27 degrees. Well, 27 to 29, really. And the interesting thing as well is Mars. Do you remember the Mars retrograde we experienced in Gemini from October 2022 to January 2023? Well, there was a portion of that where Mars was retrograde in Gemini whilst Pluto was at 29 or 27 to 29 degrees. So this, I think, is actually highlighting something to do with back then. So was there anything that you were working on during that time? Anything you were working on really, even whilst Mars was retrograde in Gemini, but even considering the December 2022 to March 2023. So anything that you were working on, anything to do with business, structure, reputation, success, integrity, responsibility, commitments, because you know what, this is going to be an opportunity during this retrograde in Capricorn for us to look at the foundation, to revisit the foundation. And my goodness, what an opportunity this is. Retrogrades could be so freaking useful, so useful. If you can imagine, if it was just constant like motion, forward motion all the time, how would we be able to, really revisit something? And that revisiting, that reassessing of something can be so useful and beneficial. We can kind of assess, well, what could I change, or what can I learn? So there is this reconstruction, this regeneration approaching, I think, with Pluto being in Capricorn with the retrograde there. Maybe it's that we will be able to accumulate different materials, different resources from our projects, from something that we were working on, and then bring that forward. And with Mars being in Gemini, this brought new ideas and flexibility. But perhaps there were a few things that were not quite up to our standard. A few things that, we could look at in hindsight and think, what, I would do that a lot differently today. Yep, I would. When I reflect upon this, I can see this. I can see this. Around the Mars retrograde time in Gemini, I was pushing a lot actually to get the guide done, the astrology guide. I was pushing to get my eBooks polished up a bit. I was pushing to get the club created. Okay, I need to plan ahead here. I need to get a few months ready so that I'm up to speed here. But when I really look back, I think I could have built things differently. And I think that this will be an opportunity for me to revisit how things are done. For some of us, it could be that things don't feel the most comfortable because, of course, with Capricorn energy, it can look at hardships, it can look at limitations, difficult lessons, these sort of challenges, these obstacles. But the great thing about Capricorn is that it looks at trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. Okay, let's kind of see, right? We'll give this a go. Okay, that's not working. Okay, well, this needs to change. We'll try it then. So the whole thing is the trial and error comes, and then it gets to a point of, right, okay, this right here is the steady foundation. This is it. This is what feels more secure. There is this real solid foundation when it comes to Capricorn, recognizing, right, what is the foundation? So Pluto retrograde in Capricorn is going to give us an opportunity to revisit that foundation. So consider where Capricorn is within your chart. I know for me, it's in the fifth house of creativity, creative projects. Very much aligns with what I just said in terms of the things I was working on. And then, of course, it's good to consider your Scorpio house for more information about this, because Pluto is one of the rulers of Scorpio. And then, like I was saying, there's the Mars part of it slightly, and Mars is the other ruler of Scorpio. And then when I reflect upon this, I've got Scorpio in the third house, and that's to do with communication. So, yeah, communication, informing, and learning, very much then tied in with the creative projects that I was working on and the things that I will be revisiting once again. And then the thing too about this is, when we revisit the structure, the foundation, perhaps there are things that we can do in order to make it more firm and solid. So yeah, I think these types of themes will come up for us whilst Pluto is retrograde in this sign. And this leads me on to Mercury. So Mercury will enter Gemini on the very same day that Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn. So this, in a way, links to what I just said. You see the connections between the Mars transit in Gemini, and then this one, Mercury entering Gemini, the very same sign that Mars was in. And then the thing is that Mercury has been in Taurus for the past 10 weeks. There was the retrograde in Taurus. And what that has been bringing up for so many of us is addressing, okay, right, how am I going to assess my security? How am I going to gain a deeper understanding about what is dependable and solid in my life? Looking at our skills, looking at our talents, revisiting these things. And making sure that we are thorough. Mercury and Taurus, especially the retrograde, gave us this amazing opportunity to really think about, right, have you addressed all areas? Have you covered all areas? I think I've said this a couple of times, but there really is this thing with Taurus of like, no, I need to think about all of these areas and make sure that every single part I need is here. There's just no point in starting something. There's no point in something being completed if all parts are not together, they're not available. So Mercury and Taurus give us this opportunity to really look at our resources, to look at our materials, to look at what we really need, to look at what can be redefined or what can be polished up. Okay. And so with Mercury then entering Gemini, this is about, right, okay, new ideas, new ideas, new ideas. How about I work smarter and not harder? How about I figure out a way to move swiftly? Oh my gosh, this is so interesting. I'm just like, when I'm reflecting on this, because what I've done in my own life is I've created so many templates. Templates are a savior, I swear. They're so savior. So instead of having, to go through a certain document or file, when you have a template there, it just makes it so much more efficient, so much quicker, and you can get through it then. But that, of course, again, it goes back to trial and error. It takes time. It takes learning as well. But basically, Mercury and Gemini highlights then this time period for us to then come up with these new ideas, to get creative, using our minds to form connections, and also using our minds to be somewhat playful and humorous. I don't know if you've maybe picked up on this, but throughout this live stream, I've just laughed at myself so many times. I think I do that in general anyway. But I do have a Gemini midheaven, but I don't know. Maybe the sun being in Gemini just sort of brings it out more. I don't know. I'm not trying to blame the skies above on what I'm doing, but I'm just saying that kind of mirroring effect, right? Okay. So basically, using our minds to be able to form connections and patterns, and that can actually, in a way, help bring structure to things for us too, building upon older ideas as well. Yes, yes, yes. Love that. Building upon older ideas. Any sort of ideas that perhaps you came up with, especially during Mercury retrograde, where it's like, Rich, you know what? Not going to quite start that because I don't have everything I need or I don't feel ready. Maybe Mercury being in Gemini is going to give us this sort of wee push of, okay, that's another idea I can add on. Yes, this is going to help me upgrade what I've been sort of working on, what I've been doing, restructuring then. Yeah, there's this sort of building upon old ideas because of new ideas. And then those new ideas which are being placed upon, or those new ideas can help us make things stronger or produce better quality. Okay, the thing is though, is Mercury will make a square to Saturn on the 15th of June. So this could be where it's this whole clash of emotional maturity versus our intellect. Maybe it's that we'll have these thoughts that are so changeable, or it's that we will feel this kind of, I'm not sure, push and pull. So perhaps it will be a good idea during that time period to really just listen, be present, to try and not get too carried away. And then even arriving to conclusions, since Saturn enter Pisces, because the thing is that Saturn will retrograde in Pisces from the 17th. So we will be retracing our steps again. So there will be more information about that. But basically, June seems to be, especially with Mercury being in Gemini from then on, but June seems to be a time period where we feel like, we're coming up with something else here. We're able to change up our environment. We're able to keep things more sort of light and keeping ourselves alert as well. There's this sort of alertness with Gemini. There's this curiosity with Gemini. But with Saturn still being in Pisces, maybe it's about also not losing ourselves too much or becoming delusional or giving into broken promises, giving into things that are, they're maybe sold as like, oh, this is amazing and this will be so good for you, but maybe we're not quite seeing things clearly. Okay, so yeah, I would just say to perhaps show some type of caution. What's coming up for me is trying not to get too carried away. Okay. And when I really think about this, it's about being able to stay somewhat present, because if it is, for example, that we are feeling like things are stagnant right now, there may be more of this urgency, this thing of, oh, I'm going to start that thing, or oh, this is the new idea. I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go for it. But then we can spread ourselves too thin. That's Gemini. Gemini can take on so many projects and then realize I am juggling too many balls here. I'm spinning too many plates. So the thing with this is be cautious of this, especially if these new ideas are coming from fear. There's this fearful state. Consider the intention. It goes back to the whole thing of intention that I was talking about a while ago. But what are our intentions? Is there a genuine curiosity? Is there this playfulness? Or is it that we'll become fearful, or we give into this glamour, right? This Pisces glamour. Follow me, and then you go down that path, and then you realize, oh, shouldn't have took that turn. Yeah, just I think with this, it's about being able to still keep some type of level-headedness. Use logic a little bit, but then with the same token, try not to get too caught up in the mind either. That we are sort of taken away from our feelings and our intuition. Yeah, so you kind of see with the square, it can maybe be this clash a little bit, this resistance. But still, Saturn retrograde is going to give us an opportunity to reflect upon our emotional maturity so far, the spiritual insights we've learned. We'll talk about it in a minute. But yeah, the new moon in Gemini then is approaching, and this could look at new intentions to do with what I've been talking about. New intentions to do with our intellect, creative ideas, versatility, amusement, communication. And then even the Sun and Mercury will square Neptune. So after the new moon in Gemini takes place, we may feel this especially, where our minds just sort of drift and wander, we lose focus. This could be an opportunity for us to just sit in that and to be inspired. But maybe not to necessarily go all in. Just let the mind wander. Let the mind be curious. See what you are being drawn toward. Yeah, I'm sort of getting with Mercury entering Gemini mid-June that it is going to be this opportunity for us to open ourselves up to new thoughts, a new mindset, and to not necessarily attach. Okay, having this letting go element, and to just flow. There's this sort of flowing energy. But of course, with squares, it can look at that sort of friction, that tension. So maybe it could be that there is this mental blockage, or it feels just like, I can't really focus, I can't really concentrate. And if that is the case, maybe it's just best to remove yourself from a certain situation. And then, of course, there's the whole element of allowing, receiving, stillness, all the spiritual stuff, Then moving on to Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So I said that I would touch on this again. So like I said, it will be going from 0 to 7 degrees, and that will be from the 17th of June to the 4th of November. So from that time period, you will be asking, what have you learned since Saturn first entered Pisces on the 7th of March? This will be a good opportunity, since we have learned, to sink in. Let them sink in. Process. It's also a good time to really show ourselves compassion, especially if it is that we find ourselves being super hard on ourselves, especially even if it is that, we feel like, oh, our minds are drifting or wandering. Oh, I'm useless. Oh, I'm no good. Nothing's going the way I want. But yeah, there can be this whole thing of turning that energy toward ourselves and internalizing it and being hard on ourselves. So yeah, compassion, self-compassion with Pisces. And also looking at inspiration. This could be a really good time for us to look at other forms of inspiration. This is what I'm getting from June is, of course, there's going to be so much of this mutable energy going on, right? So this is an opportunity for us to explore what else is out there, to maybe even just step away from something for a while, to maybe not be so just keep at it, keep at it. And yes, we have the Grand Cross, the Grand Fixed Cross entering June and even now. And there are these themes of, right, okay, gotta keep steady, gotta keep solid. But we're going to move into this more sort of fluid energy, this more flexible energy, where perhaps we can look toward other forms of inspiration. And then that can even help us in a whole new light. We'll be guided in a whole new way. Also, looking at things like unconditional love, fantasy, escapism, to indulge in these things a little bit, but also to address where we take things too far, looking at these escapist tendencies so these things that we do as a way to escape in a more negative way. So really hard lessons coming up, possibly. Honestly looking at ourselves and thinking, okay, well, is this healthy? Am I addicted to this? Do I depend on this? Am I dependent on this other person? Am I merging too much with this other person? Maybe I shouldn't do that. Boundaries. Also, reassessing any emotional or spiritual blockages. So these things have been coming up with Saturn being in Pisces. So we'll be reviewing these things. And then also reviewing the emotional maturity progress we have made so far. So if we think about Pisces and how it's tied to mirroring and projecting, like I was saying earlier, well, perhaps this will be an opportunity for us to look really at our projections. Of course, we project all the time. I think it's just this sort of subconscious thing that we do, but there's still that we can still sort of bring an awareness to some of our projections and kind of go, right, okay, what is it about me that I'm bringing to this? What are they communicating, or what are they doing that's making me feel a certain way, and then how I respond to them. I'll even just give an example of mirroring, right? So this may be really silly to so many of you, but there is a cat that visits me pretty much every day. It's a neighbor's cat. I do not know her name, but she's so cute. And earlier, the cat was following me along the path toward my house. And so my partner was with me, and I recognized how the cat was moving so slow. Like, come on, you're moving so slow. Come here, I want to pet you, that kind of thing. And and my partner was walking along, and he said, yeah, she's moving really slow. And I was like, oh, hold on. Yeah, like I was clearly moving really slow because he was also waiting on me. And I was thinking, this cat is reflecting to me the part of me that can move really slow. That's being really slow here. There's other things that the cat has done that makes me kind of go, what? That cat is acting the way I can be. What? This cat is mirroring something to me. And I don't know if I necessarily believe in spirit animals. I've heard spirit animals be talked about within the spiritual community, and it does interest me. It really interests me. But I'm not sure. Is it that this cat has sort of been sent to me in a way as this sort of guide or this teacher as a spirit animal? It's interesting to think about, you know. But basically, I couldn't help but think about what is this cat reflecting to me? And so I think Saturn in Pisces has been helping with this or been bringing up these types of questions for many of us. But you see, with Saturn stationing retrograde, this will be an opportunity for us to really revisit these things, to take a deeper look. Now, this is also going to be a time to see what we can adjust when it comes to our healing, creativity, rest, sleep. Okay, Pisces says, would you just rest more? Can you rest more, please? Just go for a nap. I went for a nap today. I stayed out a little bit later last night. Gosh, I'm so old. I'm getting to that point, where it's like, oh, you're as soon as you turn 30 plus, then you just all downhill from there. It's that whole thing. But I stayed out a little bit later, and then earlier I was like, yeah, just gonna go for a little nap. And it was lovely. It actually helped refuel me a little bit. I felt actually quite good afterwards. So basically, yeah, I think this retrograde is going to bring up what we can adjust or what we can revisit with respect to rest, sleep, dreams too. Dreams is a big one. Looking at our imagination as well, getting lost in a fantasy, getting lost in some sort of imaginative flow process, journaling as well. Maybe will come up. Perhaps it'll be a good idea to sort of do the whole stream of consciousness when it comes to journaling during this time. And then also looking at a spiritual deep dive. It's like a spiritual deep dive, especially with Neptune going to retrograde as well in Pisces. So looking at here how we can see past the walls we put up. Ooh, and how often we deceive ourselves because we don't want to face the truth. Ooh. That hit hard in my soul. Yeah, Saturn retrograde can showcase these things. And the thing is, of course, is that we can bring these lessons forward when Saturn does turn direct in November. Okay, so the new moon will happen in Gemini. Jason, you said you're not old. Oh, thank you. I'm not old. I'm just joking. Creator, you said you're lucky that Kat has chosen as company. Yeah, I feel so lucky. I feel so lucky. You know what? I don't have a cat of my own, but I cannot wait to own a cat one day. And I hope that the cat that I own one day is really sweet like her. Yeah, I do. I love cats. Okay, so new moon in Gemini is going to take place on the 18th of June. It's going to be 26-degree new moon, so equating to the number 8. So we kind of touched on this, but it's quite interesting that we're going to be experiencing a number 8 moon and a number 4 moon throughout June. Looking here at some type of building energy, okay? Building character. This is a month of character building. Reshaping our social foundation. Big. Testing our limits, especially with the Saturn retrograde as well in Pisces. So yeah, this is an opportunity, I think, for us to really look at, okay, how can I strengthen my character? How can I strengthen it? And also, what can I even change about myself in a way? What can be reshaped? What can be readjusted so that I can feel more strong from within? And that's the thing. Venus in Leo, Venus retrograde in Leo coming up as well from the 22nd of July to the 3rd of September. This is going to be major for looking at our character, really addressing that strength. That Leo is the heart, right? Leo is such a strong archetype. I mean, it's the lion. Yes, the lion. Okay, so new moon in Gemini, planting new seeds to do with duality, learning, finding out the facts. Then there will be this in conjunction to Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. So kind of going back to what I was saying a moment ago, to do with the whole Mars transit in Gemini as well, and then with Mercury entering Gemini. So I think there will be this addressing the foundation energy going on. And then Mercury will be home in Gemini, which will sextile Venus the same degree. The same degree goes back to Venus and Leo, like I just said, with strength, character building, confidence, self-assurance. Even Mars will be a part of this with the sextile. More information about the new moon closer to the time, but as you can see, these are the things that are going to come up. We'll also be reflecting upon our pleasures, our heart, our bravery, our passion then, because of the sextiles going on with Leo, to Leo. And then toward the end there, I said that Saturn will make a square to Mercury. So, it could be that there's some sort of thing of feeling sort of worn out mentally, or looking at mental authority, looking at how we can be blocked, limited mentally. And then also the sun and moon will square Neptune. So looking at again the whole our mind sort of drifting. So it's interesting to kind of think about how there will be a square between Saturn and Mercury, and then also the square between Neptune and the sun and moon. So yeah, I would kind of say that with the new moon in Gemini, of course we'll talk more about it, because I'll be able to split it up and look at more look at the details within the aspects. But what I'm getting, if I kind of think for a moment, what I'm getting, trying not to box ourselves in, into a certain identity in a way, and being open to what can reshape us, being open to what can make us stronger. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to Cancer season. Before we actually look at Cancer season, I just want to say with this one, happy summer solstice, guys. Happy summer solstice. Cancer season marks the summer solstice. So I just want to say we're at this halfway mark of the year, and I hope that things, for those of you where it's like, oh, things are stagnant, etc. I feel this way, certainly. I hope that things do improve. But still, all the best, and I hope that you have a nice summer as well. Though to be fair, for those of you in the southern hemisphere, it's going to be your winter solstice. Still, I hope you have a nice winter. Okay, so Cancer season will begin from the 21st of June. All right, so we're going to be going from this intellectual stimulation to getting in the feels, honoring our emotions. We're going to be going from socializing and changing things up to our home comforts and our inner security. A lot of emotional stuff coming up here. Juno will actually enter Cancer the day after the Sun enters Cancer. So there will be this Cancer stellium going on for a little bit of Cancer season. And then also with Juno entering Cancer, it looks at us developing meaningful emotional bonds, feeling close, okay, really wanting to be supported and protected by our loved ones, to feel safe. This is a season, of course, of shining light on how we nurture, how we support, how we care for ourselves, others, things. This is about protection, possibly even defensiveness. But it's like, I want to keep this. I want to keep what I have here close to me. And then accepting that certain emotions cannot be explained logically here. and that our intuition can be so strong, and we may get a hunch about something, and it's about sort of listening in. Okay, well, what is that saying here? What's being communicated to me here? Yes, Cancer season is coming. And the thing is, of course, is that Mercury will enter Cancer from the 26th of June. So toward the end of the month, and this will be until the 11th of July, there will be the Mercury Cassimi in Cancer the same day as Neptune stations retrograde, which will be on the 30th. So that day can be a really good day for brilliant communication when we feel safe, when we feel supported, a brilliant day for intuition, having this sharp intuition, really homing in on our intuition, our hunches, and then it almost just feeling so natural, that type of thing. Yeah. Mercury Cassimi on the 30th. And then there will be as well, with Mercury being in Cancer, thoughtful and emotionally attuned communication. Being able to sort of read the room, so to speak, being able to tap into other people's feelings and emotions. Hey, it's quite interesting, guys. Just want to say the cat that I just told you about, has entered. Hi. she likes to come up to my window and meow. And then I go out and I pet her. So, another thing is needing to feel like we belong with Cancer season, even with Mercury being in Cancer, the stellium there, just I enjoy Cancer energy. I enjoy it. And it's so crazy because I don't have placements, basically. I'm so not like Cancer. Well, to be fair, you know what? I've got my South Node in Cancer. So I've got my South Node and I've got my part of fortune in Cancer. So yeah, maybe that does sort of explain why I feel quite comfortable with this energy. And then also my mum, she's Cancerian. And a lot of people in my life are Cancerians. My partner's a Cancerian. Okay, so yeah, it's actually starting to make sense now. Okay, so with Juno, Mercury, and the Sun all being in Cancer, this could be marriage energy, right? This can be, right, okay, I want to have a family with you, I want to marry you, I want to be with you for the rest of my life, I want to commit to you. And the thing is that the best friend I was telling you about, whose pre-wedding party it was, so her wedding is going to be around that time. So I just think it's so beautiful that Juno, the Sun, and Mercury will all be in Cancer during her wedding. I love it. I love it. Okay, Mercury also in Cancer can look at how does communication feel? How does this feel? Cancer is very much about my feelings, my emotions. And that is, I do have a lot of Aquarius energy, and that is something that I can often overlook when it comes to people in my life who have Cancer placements. Yes, I may have my South Node and my part of fortune, but that is nothing when compared to someone who is a Cancer Sun with their Mars there and their Venus there, or someone who has Mercury and Jupiter there, for example. Also, what do you need from others when communicating? Having the ability to communicate what your needs are. And how do you react whenever certain things are said? You know, Cancer energy can be quite reactive. And I'll further say with this that the Sun and Mercury will sextile Jupiter at some point. So this could be where we're actually feeling quite content at the beginning of Cancer season. There's this, do you know what? I feel at ease. I feel settled. It's nice. It's nice. It's nice to know that you're supported. It's nice to know that you're loved. It's nice to know that there are people in your life who would protect you, and people who want to sort of care for you in this emotional way. They care about how you're feeling. That's nice. I have Cancer in my 11th house, so friendships, communities, feeling the love. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about today is Neptune retrograde in Pisces. Yeah, yeah, Kitty made the cat's earring. She knew I was talking about her. The creator, you said long, stable marriage for your friend. Oh, so your friend is also getting married? Congratulations to your friend. Love it. Okay, so Neptune retrograde will happen from the 30th of June to the 6th of December. So this will be from 27 degrees to 24 degrees. So think back to February 2023 to 30th of June. So the past 4 months, what has come up for you with respect to delusions? Oh gosh. When I said delusions, I was like, yep, I can pinpoint which delusions have come up for me. Not all, not throughout the complete 4 months. My gosh. But I can think of some pretty obvious ones. So yeah, think about delusions, dreams, symbolism, spirituality, stuff like that. Um oh for my sorry, creator. Yeah, yes, I hope so. Yes, I know. Yes, definitely. I agree. Definitely. Um, for sure. Um, and then where was I? Symbolism and spirituality. Yeah, revisiting these types of things. And this will also be a time to gain a deeper understanding about our dreams, our fantasies, any addictions we have, an intuitive or spiritual matter throughout 2023 may be revisited. Even just drawing from my own experience. Okay, so I recently went to a the name. I forget the name of it. Bath. I might look it up. I might look it up because I want to get it. I want to say it correctly. Um, okay, so I'm not actually. I can't remember. I'm gonna kick myself because I'm gonna discover it later. It's like a bath meditation, but you're not in a bath. It's the ones where the meditation where there are these huge instruments and they basically use the sound and the vibrations. So you go and these instruments are hit and you can feel the vibrations just running through your body and you lay there and you're just sort of in this sort of not quite conscious, unconscious like state, this in between. And it felt incredible. Yes, thank you. That is the one. That is it. Yes, gong bath meditation. Yes, thank you. Um, and it was so nice. It was so nice. And I just can't help but think that with Neptune retrograde, it will be an opportunity to really reassess types of practices to do. And this is especially clear, I think, because Saturn will also be retrograde in Pisces. I mean, Neptune's been in Pisces for a good while, a long time, and it's been retrograde in and out, for a good few years. So with Saturn also being there, I think it's going to highlight, okay, well, maybe you can do something, right? You can maybe look at a plan or you can assess what you can do in order to experience those types of things again, or is there anything else that you want to experience with respect to spirituality? So helpful, so beneficial. I really got a lot from that experience, and I just think meditation in general is such a good way to help ease anxieties and yeah, nerves as well. As you can probably tell, I'm quite a I don't want to say it out loud necessarily, but I am quite a nervous person. I have a lot of nervous energy that runs through my body quite a lot. So I'm really hoping that this Pisces energy with the retrogrades can help me maybe tap into greater stillness, right? And consider this for yourselves, right? Of course, consider these retrogrades within your own life in terms of experiencing greater stillness, even slowing down and addressing any losses, any suffering, any endings, making peace with the past situation, you know, diving deeper then even into your soul, looking at anything that is blocking you spiritually, and taking another look at self-compassion and forgiveness. You know, whenever you had said about for your friend, and I'm saying, oh yeah, your friend, I would have this type of personality where I would hold on to that, right? I would hold on to a word that I got wrong or a word that I said, and I would go over it and over it and over it. And I've been working so hard on not doing that and recognizing it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to get something wrong. It's okay to read quickly and then miss out on something. It's okay to mispronounce something. Yeah, these themes have been coming up quite a bit in my life. And basically going back to Neptune retrograde in Pisces, even Saturn retrograde in Pisces, there's such themes to do with self-compassion. So it's a good opportunity to reassess these types of things and then also to bring that greater clarity forward. Okay, so that is June, everyone. June 2023. Thank you so much for being here. I have really appreciated your time. I hope that I didn't ramble too much today. I feel like I did, but I hope that you were able to benefit from this astrology forecast today and you've been able to kind of get an understanding about the month ahead. Now, if you are interested in more live sessions where we go into more detail, I don't ramble as much over there. I just want to say that I'm a lot more on point over there, but it's still an opportunity for you to even communicate with me in a more back and forth way because you're able to share your own experiences about the transits. And yeah, there's this more back and forth process that goes on over at the Cosmic Warriors Club. So if you're interested in keeping up to date with that, go to cosmicwarriorsclub.com. And then also, if you are interested in any of my services, of course, I have readings there. Readings are open for June. You can go to hannahselsewhere.com. You can find my eBooks, my guide, all that good stuff. And if you enjoyed this session today, you can always buy me a coffee. I've got the link there. And of course, that's only if you really enjoyed it and you really appreciated it. But I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Really, thank you for your time on this Saturday. And I'm going to go and I'm going to get some dinner, probably pet the cat for a little bit, say hello. And then, yeah, I will talk to you very soon. I'll be back with updates. Have a good weekend. Thank you so much, Jason. Yes, have a good weekend as well. Have a good rest of your weekend. And thank you, Kina. Thank you. And Creator, thank you so much. Brilliant. I'm glad. Really glad. Thank you, Creator. Okay, I will talk to you all very soon and take care. Make sure you like this video, by the way, if you liked it. And comment, all that good stuff. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will talk to you very soon.